lantern. Mike, turn off the video game. We're going to watch a slideshow.
Mike, turn off the video game. We're going to see a slideshow.
Mike, stop monkeying around and turn off the video game.
Mike, stop monkeying around and turn off the video
So
game.
you like to monkey around, huh? That's great. Then we should watch a slideshow about the Monkey King. So, switching on the magic lantern. Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, based on an ancient Chinese epic. In far-off China, on a beautiful mountain of fruit and flowers, there lived a happy and naughty Monkey King. His name was Sun Wukong.
You see, Kate? Happy and naughty, just like me.
Sun Wukong could fly on the clouds, knew all kinds of magic spells, and taught his monkeys to fight with swords so they could protect the mountain from different evil demons.
He's like me. I'm fighting demons all the time, too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's what you're doing by sitting on the couch. One day, when Sun Wukong was teaching his monkey students a new trick, he accidentally broke his sword into pieces.
Yes, it wasn't a very good sword.
Well, we have to find a new weapon, said Sun Wukong.
Where is he going to find one? At the sword store?
The sea dragon had a gigantic magic cane on the bottom of the sea, which he used to pacify the waters of the ocean. That's the weapon for me, decided Sun Wukong.
Kate, what does it mean to pacify the waters of the ocean?
Well, it means he calmed down the waves if they were being unruly. Give me that cane, Sun Wukong demanded of the dragon. Ha ha ha! You won't be able to even lift that cane, laughed the dragon. Take it if you can.
Wow, it's huge! There's no way he could lift something like that.
Sun Wukong smiled cunningly, said the magic spell, and bam! The cane became as small as a toothpick.
That's pretty smart.
That's not fair! Yelled and stamped the dragon. It's my cane! Give it to me! How am I going to calm the waters of the sea? But Sun Wukong had already disappeared without a trace.
Why is it unfair? It's totally fair. He said it himself. If you can lift it, then take it.
So the dragon decided to complain to the Sky Emperor. The Monkey King tricked me and hurt me. Punish him. Otherwise, he will hurt you too.
That dragon's telling on him? His mom probably didn't teach him that it's not a good thing to do.
If Sun Wukong is so dangerous, decided the Sky Emperor, we have to call him up here and give him an airing so that we can supervise him. And he appointed Sun Wukong the Sky Stableman.
Kate, what do stablemen do?
They take care of the horses, of course. Sun Wukong liked the sky horses, so he began to feed them, comb their manes, and play with them. And then he set them all free.
Boy, the Emperor won't be happy about that.
The Emperor got angry and stamped his foot. Why did you set my horses free? I didn't ask you to do that. I don't know what I'm going to do with you.
I told you.
Sun Wukong didn't like being yelled at, so he got on a cloud and flew home to his monkeys.
Of course he did. No one stamps their foot at the Monkey King. Not even the Emperor.
But this only made the Emperor angrier, and he sent the Sky Army to chase Sun Wukong to punish him.
They don't know who they're dealing with.
But Sun Wukong took out the magic cane, made it big, and smashed the Emperor's whole army in one swing.
That's because if you have a magic cane, you're invincible.
Since then, everyone knew that the Monkey King was the strongest and smartest, not only on the mountain of fruit and flowers, but also in the sky and in the underwater kingdom.
See? And you said that I shouldn't monkey around.
That's right, Mike. I said that you shouldn't mock people and make faces.
And I think it's okay to do it, especially if you have a magic cane, you know?
Magic lantern. Mike, turn off the video game. We are going to watch a slideshow.
I don't want to watch your slideshow right now. I was finally able to build up my super strength. I have to fight now.
How about building up your brain a little first? They say it's useful.
Yeah, that's important. When your strength is only at level 1, of course mine's already at level 4. I don't need any brains.
Mike, I'm not an expert at your games, nor do I want to be. But something tells me that when it comes to brains, you can never have too much. Switching on the magic lantern. Benkei and Yoshitsune, based on a Japanese legend. Once upon a time, in ancient Japan, there lived a monk named Benkei. He was very tall and very strong.
Whoa, he's a giant!
However, Benkei was not like a regular monk. Instead of praying all day long, he was fighting all day long.
That's awesome! I would play a game based on him.
Because of that, Benkei was expelled from the monastery, and he had to go to the city.
That's silly! Why did they expel him? He was so strong!
There were a lot of rich people in the city. One of them had 1,000 horses. Another one, 1,000 shields. And Benkei had nothing.
A guy like him would never lose.
So Benkei decided, the rich people have to share their things with me. And he started taking swords away from samurai warriors.
See? I told you.
The warriors didn't want to give away their swords, of course. But Benkei was so strong that no one could beat him.
Did you hear that? He is stronger than everybody.
Pretty soon, Benkei gathered 999 swords. One more, and he'd have 1,000.
You see that, Kate? Strength is the most important thing.
Hey, don't jump ahead, Mike. The story isn't over quite yet. Suddenly, Benkei saw a man with the most beautiful sword.
Ooh.
That's what I'm missing for my collection, thought Benkei, and he attacked the samurai.
He's going to defeat him in a second. You just watch.
Benkei didn't know that this wasn't just any samurai in front of him, but a great warrior called Yoshitsune.
And what's so great about him?
Benkei tried to hit Yoshitsune with his big fist. But Yoshitsune dodged the blow.
Oh man, just try it again.
Then, Benkei took out a club and started swinging it wildly. But it was useless. Yoshitsune jumped over it like it was a jump rope.
Just take that guy's sword already. That's what he wants, right, Kate?
Benkei took out his sword. Yoshitsune catapulted himself off the wall, turned around in the air, and landed right behind Benkei.
What? How did he do that?
That was a cool trick. Benkei was surprised. If you want, I can teach you the tricks, said Yoshitsune. But you have to stop attacking samurais.
What kind of tricks is he gonna teach him?
Benkei agreed immediately, and Yoshitsune made him his new apprentice.
That's not right. Benkei is stronger.
Yoshitsune soon taught Benkei to fight, to dodge blows, to jump over clubs, and even to fly in the air. All the same things Yoshitsune did himself.
Now no one will be able to beat him.
Together, they performed countless heroic feats. After a battle, Benkei always kept the swords to add to his collection.
Kate, can we play a video game together?
What do you need me for, Mike?
Well, you're smart and you know the multiplication cable.
It's called multiplication table. Maybe you should get a video game on multiplication next. Magic lantern. Mike, turn off your video game. We are going to watch a slideshow.
Right now? A slideshow? Don't you have homework to do?
This slideshow is my homework. We had an assignment to study epic tales, so we're going to watch one about a great warrior, together.
Why together? I'm not going to do your homework. That's your job. It's boring.
Classes are boring? No way. Ask any A student and they'll tell you that classes are the most interesting thing ever. Okay, switching on the magic lantern. Volga and Tsar Sultan. Based on a Russian epic. A long time ago, when knights and magicians lived in Russia, a knight was born. His name was Volga Uslayevich.
Kate, this epic, is it long?
Be quiet, I'm trying to watch this. He grew up not by days and not by hours, but by minutes. After no more than a minute lying in his cradle, he said to his mother, "Don't wrap me in diapers. Put me in iron armor instead."
Aw, Kate, when will this be over?
And the very next minute, Volga got out of the cradle and began to learn all that he could about the world.
And that's the end of the fairy tale. The end.
He learned to read and write, and he also learned how to turn into different animals. He learned that from the magicians.
And he lived happily ever after.
So Volga gathered warriors, and they went to guard the Russian land together.
And so the story goes. Kate, is it over now?
Stop your whining. Volga started to hear rumors that the neighboring Tsar Sultan was plotting something evil.
I have a feeling this epic will never end.
Volga sent scouts to check on Tsar Sultan, but they came back empty-handed. The Tsar's castle walls were so thick, you couldn't hear anything from outside.
So is that all?
I have to do it myself, sighed Volga. He turned into a little bird and flew to Tsar Sultan.
And he flew for 30 years more.
Volga perched himself on a windowsill and overheard Tsar Sultan bragging that he would soon invade the Russian land and how no one there could stop him.
Now Volga will show him just how wrong he is about that. And I get to play my video games.
I'm not going to let that happen, twitted Volga. He flew down to the Tsar cellars, where they kept all of their weapons.
Why in cellars? And who's going to fight?
There he turned into a weasel and gnawed all the arrows. And then he flew back to his warriors.
Aw, it can't end like this. Fight! Fight! Fight!
My warriors! It's time to march against Tsar Sultan. He's misbehaving far too much.
Hooray!
The warriors were happy and went to fight. They traveled to Sultan's palace, and they saw a very tall wall, but there was no way to jump over it.
That's some battle.
Boom! And Volga turned his warriors into ants. They crawled through under the wall and then turned back into brave warriors.
Volga is pretty cool after all. Good for him.
Sultan saw Volga's warriors and ordered the arrows to be ready. But there were no arrows, so Sultan had to surrender.
Yay, we won!
After his defeat, Sultan stopped plotting against Russia, and Volga returned home with his warriors and continued to guard the Russian land. The end.
The end? Hey, that was kind of short for an epic.
Do you really think so? You kept saying you wanted it to be over.
That's right, I did. But now I think they're kind of cool. Hey, Kate, do you have any more homework that you need my help with?
Magic lantern. Mike, turn off your video game. We are going to watch a slideshow.
I can't hear you. You'll have to speak louder.
Mike, you've been playing for 3 hours already. Are you going to keep playing those night games for the rest of your life?
No, not all my life. I'm still little, but one day I'll become a knight. For real. I'll fight monsters, you'll see.
So you've got everything planned out, huh? I think Mom might have something to say about that, though. In fact, that's just like the slideshow we're going to watch right now. A famous medieval legend. Switching on the magic lantern. Percival and his mother. Based on a tale of chivalry. Once upon a time, long ago, the Queen Herselida gave birth to a new baby boy named Percival.
Is this really about knights?
Yes, be quiet, Mike. On that same day, Percival's father went to fight their enemies. He was a knight, and he cannot live without battles.
Did you hear that? We can't live without battles. That's the way knights are.
Perselida waited for her brave knight to return for many days. But the battles lasted longer than before, and he never came home.
I'm not coming back either, so you'll have to do without me, you know?
The queen took little Percival and left the palace forever, so that he would never become a knight and leave to battle, like his father before him.
He couldn't become a knight? That's not fair.
From then on, Percival lived in a forest. He didn't know there were such things like castles and knights, but he could easily shoot pine cones from a slingshot.
He couldn't even play video games about knights?
One day, Percival was playing in the forest when he heard stomping. There in the clearing was a horseman in shining armor and with a sword. Percival thought he was sleeping and having a beautiful dream. He had never met a horseman in his entire life.
He has his mom to thank for that one. That's all her fault, you know.
The horseman explained that he was not a dream, but a regular knight, and that he was going to King Arthur in Camelot. That's what all the horsemen did.
I want to go to Camelot too.
Percival told his mom, "I'm going to King Arthur too. Give me a horse and a suit of armor."
All right, good for him.
But Herselida decided to cheat. She gave her son a donkey instead of a horse, a pot instead of a helmet, and a fishing net instead of the chain armor.
That looks funny.
So what if the other knights make fun of him, thought Herselida. At least my son will come back home to me, safe and sound.
She's so sly! You can't do that to your own son.
Percival put on his suit of armor and went to see King Arthur. All of the knights burst out laughing. They called him the Knight of the Pots.
It's not his fault. It's his mom's fault.
Percival was patient at first, but then he couldn't take it anymore. He took out his slingshot and started shooting pine cones everywhere.
Not how knights do it, but it works.
Suddenly, all the knights realized that they should not be making fun of Percival, and they agreed to make him a knight. King Arthur gave Percival an actual horse and a real sword.
He showed them.
Percival was so happy, he went to fight the enemies right away. He did it so well that soon the people started writing legends about Percival and his adventures.
People will write legends about me too, Kate. You'll see.
And Herselida had to accept the fact that her son had become a knight. She started collecting the legends about Percival and wrote them down in one book. It filled up so quickly and got so big it could barely stay closed.
Kate, will you write down legends about me?
You can write it down yourself.
No way, Kate. A knight writing about his own heroic deeds? That's just wrong. Plus, I don't even know how to write.
Magic Lantern. Mike, can you please turn off the video game? We are going to watch a slideshow.
No, Kate, I can't now. I just found an artifact.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty big word, you know. What kind of an arty fruit did you find in your video game? An apple?
Not an arty fruit, an artifact. It's a magical item. It helps in any battle. And you're the one going to school. Don't they teach you anything?
Mike, we don't learn nonsense like that at school. We study myths and legends, and we don't sit around playing video games. Okay? Switching on the Magic Lantern. Thor's Hammer. Based on Norse myths. The Norse god Thor had a magical hammer, Mjolnir. Thor always took it with him when he had to fight off the bad guys.
That's an artifact. You said you didn't learn that.
But one day, his precious hammer Mjolnir disappeared. Evil trolls stole the hammer for themselves.
Trolls are kind of like giants, Kate.
I knew that already. Thanks, though. The trolls refused to return the hammer to Thor. However, they would return it on one condition. The beautiful goddess Freya must agree to marry the chief troll, Thrym.
And Goddess Freya is a goddess.
Mike, don't be a smarty pants, okay? But Freya did not want to marry the ugly troll, so she told Thor immediately that there would be no wedding. It's your hammer. You should be the one to get it back.
All right, now they're gonna fight.
Thor was desperate. His power was in that hammer, and without it, he was not a god. He was nothing.
A real artifact!
But then, Thor's close friend, Loki, came to his rescue. The clever Loki told Thor to dress as a woman and pretend to be the beautiful Freya for the chief troll.
No, wait a minute. You can't do that in a game.
Thor didn't want to do that. But then he realized he had no other choice. He had to wear a girl's dress and walk to Thrym's dressed like that.
That's so funny.
Chief Troll Thrym was already expecting his bride. So, as soon as Thor and Loki showed up, he took them to the wedding table.
A bride with a beard.
Thor ate every single thing that was on the table at once. And he drank 5 barrels of mead in one gulp.
I wish he could come to our kindergarten to eat the porridge for everyone. It's so lumpy.
Thrym was surprised. He said, "It's the first time in my life that I've seen a girl with such a good appetite."
Now he'll figure out that it's not his bride.
"Your bride was in such a hurry, she didn't have time to eat at home," said Loki.
She was in a hurry, so she didn't have time to shave.
After eating, Thrym wanted to give his bride a hug. But Thor gave him an angry look. Thrym was surprised again. His bride had eyes that gave him goosebumps all over.
Just wait until he sees the size of her fists.
"It's because she is waiting for her wedding gift," said Loki. "Bring Thor's hammer, quickly."
He's so sly.
Thrym gave the order to bring the hammer. Thor saw his hammer, grabbed it at once, and started waving it at the trolls.
Yay! Thor got his artifact back!
Trolls now realized that this wasn't the bride they were expecting, but it was too late. He barely escaped from there.
Now no one will be able to defeat him.
Thor and Loki went back home to Asgard. Ever since that adventure, Thor was never without his hammer Mjolnir again. He even slept using the hammer as his pillow.
See, Kate? Now you know what an artifact is.
That's enough, Mike. Stop trying to teach me.
Should we watch another slideshow?
No way, not a chance. Go play your video games and get more of your arty fruit. Magic Lantern. Mike, stop playing your video game. We are going to watch a slideshow.
Yeah. Hey, Kate, which helmet should I pick? The round one or the one with feathers on it?
Do you mean to tell me that's all you plan on doing today? Playing your video games? Sitting there picking helmets?
That's right. It's important, too. I think I'll take the round one. It's more like me, you know?
Wow, Mike. It turns out you know a thing or two about fashion. Just like the hero of this slideshow. I'll introduce you to him now. How does that sound? All right, switching on the magic lantern. Duke Stepanovich, based on a Russian epic. Once upon a time, there was a warrior, Duke Stepanovich, who lived in the far-off land of India. He wasn't very strong, nor was he smart, but he had clothes that were a feast for the eyes.
He knows nothing about fashion. No one wears that anymore.
One day, Duke Stepanovich decided to go to the Russian capital to show off his extravagant clothes and style. As he was leaving, his mother told him, "Don't show off too much in the Russian capital. Their warriors are feisty. They'll get into a fight, and you'll end up with wrinkled clothes."
So no fights here? Come on, I would rather see a fight.
The Duke promised her he'd behave himself. He packed his things, got on his llama, and off he went.
Kate, is there going to be a fight?
Soon, he arrived at the Russian capital and went straight to Prince Vladimir. Vladimir asked him, "Do you like it here, Duke Stepanovich?" Duke Stepanovich replied, "Not so much. This place is very dirty. My boots got all scuffed up while I was walking here."
It's his fault. He shouldn't have gone there in his boots.
Vladimir got upset, so he told his warriors, "Teach this snob a lesson, my faithful warriors."
Finally, there's gonna be a fight.
Suddenly, warrior Ilya Moromet stepped forward. "Pick a weapon that we'll use to fight, like swords or spears," he said.
Pick swords! No, wait, spears! Or swords?
Duke Stepanovich thought about it and replied, "Let's fight with clothes. Whoever has more beautiful clothes wins."
With clothes? Kate, is that possible?
Ilya Moromet was surprised. He had never heard of such a fight. But there was nothing he could do, so he had to dress up.
This is a weird story.
So, Ilya got all dressed up. He had Moroccan boots on and a scarlet cloak on his shoulders. He was so handsome.
This one is also in boots. They know nothing.
But then, Duke Stepanovich showed up. He was wearing sandals made from 7 different types of silk. A caftan with braids covered his shoulders. And on his caftan, there were buttons that played music.
Musical buttons? I want those too.
Everyone was in awe. "All right, you win, Duke Stepanovich," said Ilya Moromet. "But now it's my turn to pick a weapon, and this time it'll be something I know all about." With a smile on his face, Ilya Moromet took out his great sword. Duke Stepanovich saw the sword and got scared to death.
Yes, there's gonna be a fight. It's about time.
"I think it's time for me to finally go home," he said. My mother is waiting and must be worried sick about me." And he ran away as fast as he could.
Wait, where are you going?
So, he ran all the way to his home in India. And he never returned to the Russian capital. No one there could appreciate fashion anyway. They liked their swords and spears much more.
Okay, I got it now.
Oh, what did you get, Mike? That a true hero doesn't need to wear fancy clothes?
No, not that. I now know which helmet I want to pick. The one with feathers.
Magic lantern. Mike, turn off the video game. We're going to watch a slideshow.
Not now. I want to play shooting games.
All you ever do is play shooting games. Mike, if you learn to do other things as well, it'll be useful in the future. I, for one, am learning to play the piano and how to sing, too.
Oh, yeah? So how is your singing going to be useful in the future?
You never know. Anything's possible. It might be very useful one day, especially if I'm able to do it well. Okay, switching on the magic lantern. Sadko from Great Novgorod, based on an epic poem about Sadko. Once upon a time, there lived a man named Sadko in the wonderful city of Novgorod. He liked singing songs out loud and playing the gusli. He could sing all day and all through the night.
I like to sing loud too so that everyone can hear.
Just because you're yelling loudly doesn't mean you're singing, Mike. One day, the people couldn't take it anymore, and they said, "That's enough, Sadko! Go away! We want to go to sleep!"
Just like you, Kate.
That's because you were yelling right into my ear in the morning. It was early. Sadko got upset and went to the deserted shore of Lake Ilmen. There, he started playing the gusli, alone.
It's not fun alone. You need an audience to clap.
Suddenly, the sea star emerged from the water. You sing well, Sadko, and it made me happy. In return, I will help you catch the golden featherfish.
Wow, he heard him from under the water? Sadko has a very strong voice.
Sadko was very happy. Great! Not only am I a singer and gusli player, now I can catch the golden featherfish too, he thought. Haha! The townspeople didn't believe him. If you catch the golden fish, we'll give you all our best merchandise. If you don't, then you'll have to leave the town forever.
What's the big deal? He can leave it forever.
You know, Mike, in the old days, they used to kick the loudmouths out of town. But nowadays, they just show them slideshows instead. Sadko cast the net once, then twice, and then on the third try, he caught the golden featherfish. The sea star kept his word.
Well done, Sar. I have trouble sometimes keeping my word.
So the townspeople had to keep their word too, and give their best merchandise to Sadko. Sadko got on a ship and sailed away to sell the merchandise and see the world. Sadko sailed on the seas for a long time, and he saw many countries. He sold all the merchandise and came back home with gold and silver. All of a sudden, a terrible storm rose, and the waves were huge. They twirled the ship this way and that way. Apparently, it was the sea star looking for a catch.
Why is he looking for one? Does he want to sink the whole ship?
Sadko threw the barrels of gold and silver into the sea, but the storm grew even worse. Sadko realized the Tsar was actually after him.
No, so they threw away all that gold and silver for nothing?
Sadko jumped into the sea and went to the very bottom. He saw the Tsar sitting on his throne, wearing a golden crown. "I'm bored," he said. "Sadko, sing a song for me, and a happy one."
So he caused a storm because he was bored?
Sadko plucked the strings and sang such a happy song that everyone started to dance. He played and sang for 3 days and 3 nights.
Singing 3 days is okay, but dancing? Your legs would fall off.
On the 4th day, the Tsar begged, "Please stop it, Sadko, no more. If you want, you can have one of my daughters as your wife, but please stop singing."
I told you, even the Tsar got tired.
Sadko picked the best of the Tsar's daughters. He waved to the Tsar, and poof, he was in the middle of Novgorod with his new wife.
I would have asked for gold and silver instead of a wife.
Don't worry, the Tsar gave him his gold and silver too. Hooray! Sadko is back! The townspeople were very happy. We got bored without you. Let's sing songs together. You see, Mike, if Sako couldn't sing or play the goosely well, he wouldn't have gotten any gold or silver, let alone find such a beautiful wife, too.
Well, I'm kind of too young to think about a wife, but I could learn to sing, I guess.
Then let's sing together. It's more fun that way, and it sounds better.
All right, but let's do it the same way those guys did. I want lots of gold and silver.
Magic lantern. Mike, turn off the video game. We're going to watch a slideshow.
I can't do it now. My cabbage is ripening. I need to harvest it.
Wait, are you playing my farm game? You little bug.
I'm not a little bug. And besides, I just sprayed our cabbage patch, so there are no bugs anymore.
Our cabbage? It's my cabbage. I planted it myself. Okay, Mike. As far as I'm concerned, no more farms for you. Okay? Switching on the magic lantern. The Tale of the Golden Fleece, based on an ancient Greek myth. Little Jason loved to hear fairy tales, especially the one about the Golden Fleece, the woolly covering of a magic lamb, which was kept in far-off Colchis.
I don't need your game anyway. I kind of like fairy tales too.
When Jason grew up, he gathered the most courageous heroes, built the sturdiest ship, and set out on a journey to Colchis to find the Golden Fleece.
Wow, how interesting!
Jason's ship was called the Argo. So, all the heroes who accompanied Jason were called Argonauts.
Is that right?
The Argonauts had to pass through the blue rocks. These rocks slammed into each other all the time and squished the ships that tried to pass between them.
That's cool, I guess.
But Athena, the ancient Greek goddess of victory, came to the Argonauts' rescue. She advised them to first let a dove fly through the rocks.
That's a great idea.
The dove flew between the rocks, and the rocks smashed together. But the dove was already far past them, so the rocks reluctantly opened up.
Oh, boy! That's so incredible!
Mike, stop clowning around. There's no way I'm letting you play my farm game now. The Argonauts started rowing faster. The waves picked up the ship and carried it through the dangerous passage.
It's really interesting. Not like your farm, which is boring.
Soon, the heroes got to the shores of Colchis, where the terrible King Aeetes ruled.
Come on, move on. I want to find out what happens next.
Give us the fleece, said Jason to Aeetes. All right, answered the king. But first, you have to sow a field with seeds.
To sow a field? Kate, it's just like the game.
The Argonauts were very happy. Sowing a field was such an easy thing to do. But they did not know that the seeds were magical.
Did you hear that? They were magical.
As soon as Jason sowed the seeds, iron spears sprouted from the earth. And in a minute, the whole field was covered with warriors in armor.
Those seeds are cool. I wish I could say the same about that cabbage.
King Aeetes rubbed his hands with joy. Now his warriors would teach Jason and his friends a lesson.
Yeah, no one would want to harvest that.
Suddenly, Jason had a great idea. Maybe the gods were helping him again. He grabbed a big rock and threw it into the crowd of the Iron Warriors.
Why did he do that? To kill the bugs?
The warriors started fighting each other with their spears. They didn't care about the Argonauts anymore, so
They looked
Jason
so
went to
angry.
King Aeetes. I performed the task. The fleece is now mine, said Jason. Aeetes was furious and raged, but there was nothing he could do. So, he had to give the golden fleece to Jason and his Argonauts.
Hooray! The fleece is ours!
The Argonauts returned home victorious with the golden fleece. And the people of Greece wrote stories of the Argonauts' heroism that the little Greek children shared with each other for many, many years.
Kate, do you think we have those kinds of seeds in our farm?
Maybe, but I think what you meant to say was in my farm, not ours. Okay, let's play the farm game together. You never know, there might be something peculiar growing there also. Magic Lantern. Mike, turn off the video game. We're going to watch a slideshow.
I won't turn it off. I'm sick today. And when I'm sick, Mom lets me play as much video games as I want.
And what exactly is wrong with you?
My throat hurts. You hear that?
Yeah, I hear it. But don't worry. I'll tell you how to cure your cough once and for all. How does that sound? Okay, put away your video game. Switching on the Magic Lantern. Hiawatha and Woodpecker Memo. Based on a poem by Henry Longfellow. Hiawatha was the powerful leader of the Indian tribe, the Iroquois. He defeated all of their enemies, among which were even a couple of wizards.
Oh, I have some Native American toys. They're the toy soldiers with feathers on them.
Mike, we're not talking about your toys. Keep listening. Only one enemy remained, the Lord of Snakes, Megisoguan. The swamp where he lived was full of poisonous vipers.
Oh, snakes! I don't like snakes.
Well, what do you like, Mike?
I like ice cream. Yesterday I ate 3 scoops.
Now I understand why your throat hurts so much. Megisoguan knew how to spread diseases. The Iroquois kept coughing and sneezing because of him. Hiawatha decided to put an end to it.
Now he's going to use some gross cough syrup. Mom always does that.
He took some magic flying shoes and mittens that could crush a mountain. And he flew straight into the toxic swamp. Little did he know that snakes were already waiting for him at the swamp, loudly hissing. They snuck up close to Hiawatha and tried to bite him.
I'd rather cough for my whole life than fight with these snakes.
Hiawatha began to zigzag through the swamp, and the snakes crawled after him. They zigzagged so much that soon they all got tangled up.
That's a huge tangle.
Hiawatha grabbed the tangled snakes with his magic mittens and threw them far away.
They deserved it.
Then Megisoguan crawled out of his hut. Who dares to touch my favorite vipers? He hissed.
Oh, now he's really in trouble.
It's me, Hiawatha. I'm the most powerful leader of the Iroquois tribe, he said. And now, I'll show you a thing or two.
He will? What's he talking about, Kate?
Hiawatha drew his bow and began to shoot. But the arrows didn't even scratch the snake's magic scales.
Run, Hiawatha! It's hopeless!
Then, Hiawatha took out his tomahawk and with all his strength threw it at Megisoguan. But Megisoguan did not even flinch.
Kate, why isn't he running?
Hiawatha could not defeat the wizard. He could not break through his pearly scales. Suddenly, Hiawatha heard a voice. It was a woodpecker named Memo.
What is a woodpecker doing here?
Aim at the top of the head, chirped the woodpecker.
Wait, how did he know that?
Hiawatha grabbed the first thing he could find, a pine cone, and threw it straight at the snake's head. The woodpecker was right, and the serpent collapsed. Hiawatha quickly rolled him up and took him home. There, Megisoguan taught the Iroquois how to cook a healing ointment from the snake's venom. And since then, the Iroquois never sneezed or coughed.
What? Medicine made out of snake's venom? That's cool!
The woodpecker Memo received beautiful feathers as a reward from Hiawatha. And now, all woodpeckers proudly wear them on their heads.
The end. Okay, where's my video game? I'm sick, but I don't have any snake's venom healing ointment.
Oh, Mike, I know just what's wrong with you. You have a condition called trichyitis with a bad case of attitude. No ointment can help with that, not even one from a snake. Magic Lantern. Mike, turn off the video game. We're going to watch a slideshow.
But Kate, I want to keep playing more.
I'll tell you a story and you guess how it ends.
Do I have to?
Uh-huh.
But Kate, we do this all the time. There's nothing to guess. All your stories end the same. The good guys win, the bad guys lose, and then there's a wedding.
Just for you, I've prepared something more interesting. The wedding's at the beginning. And you can't really tell who's good and who's bad. Okay? Switching on the Magic Lantern. Trojan Horse. Based on a story of ancient Greece. Once upon a time, 3 ancient Greek goddesses got into an argument over who was better. Wise Athena, noble Hera, or beautiful Aphrodite.
And now they're gonna fight. Am I right?
Almost. They kept arguing, but still couldn't decide. So they asked a young man named Paris to choose between them.
He's gonna choose that one, with the owl. She has a cool helmet.
Paris looked at the goddesses and chose Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Delighted, Aphrodite promised Paris the love of the most beautiful woman in the world.
What kind of gift is that? I wish they'd fought instead.
The most beautiful woman in the world was Helen, the queen of an ancient Greek province. They even called her Helen the Beautiful.
And what's so beautiful about her?
Helen immediately fell in love with Paris, and Paris fell in love with Helen. He then took her to his home, to the city of Troy.
Told ya, here's the marriage.
The Greeks gasped, "Helen is gone!" So they gathered their best heroes and set off to take back their queen. The clever Odysseus went along with them.
And they returned Helen. See, I told you it would be easy to guess.
For 10 years, the Greeks stood at the walls of Troy, but they were unable to conquer the city. Its walls were too thick and too high.
Then the Greeks built a teleport and teleported into the city.
Eventually, the Trojans lost their patience. How long are we going to be locked up here? And rushed out to battle.
This is where the Greeks defeated them.
They battled for 4 days and 4 nights, but nobody could win. The Greeks were good warriors, but so were the Trojans.
So the Greeks returned home empty-handed. The end, right?
Wrong again. The Greeks gathered a council. What should we do? We cannot take Troy by force. And Odysseus spoke. If we cannot take them by force, we should outsmart them.
Odysseus called aliens, and they conquered the city.
Clever Odysseus ordered a giant wooden horse to be built. The Greeks were confused, but they built the horse anyway.
Odysseus climbed on the horse and began to ride it.
Odysseus ordered all the Greeks to climb inside the horse and wait for his signal. Then he went to the Trojans.
So they could ride it too.
"We give up," said Odysseus. "You've won. We're going to go back home to Greece now. And this horse is our gift to you, our dear friends, the Trojans."
He just wanted to go home, that's all.
The Trojans were pleased with this gift. They accepted the horse and placed it on display in their main square.
And they started to ride it one by one.
At this point, Odysseus gave the signal. the Greeks jumped out of the horse and captured all of the Trojans. This was the Great Fall of Troy.
The Greeks won all because of some big horse?
Clever Odysseus and the Greeks took their queen, Helen, and sailed home. However, their trip back home was very long. But that's a different story for another time. See, Mike, you couldn't guess any part of my story, right?
That's only because your tale was impossible for me to guess. Let's watch another one, but one where everything is expected. The good guys win, the bad guys lose, and a wedding at the end.
Magic Lantern. Mike, turn off the video game. We're going to watch a slideshow.
No, I can't right now. First, I need to conquer the city.
Conquering the city is not the most important thing. The main thing is to return home.
Home? That's easy to do. 1, 2, and done. I have a ship.
Especially when you have a ship. A trip such as that one can take a very long time, you know? Just like in this interesting story we're about to see. Okay? Switching on the Magic Lantern. Odysseus and the Cyclops, based on the poem Odyssey by Homer. The ancient Greeks were constantly fighting with many different enemies, but they always won.
Kate, apparently, I'm from ancient Greece too. Do you know how many battles I've won?
Their most famous victory was over the Trojans, the citizens of Troy. A Greek hero named Odysseus won that battle.
Oh, I've heard about it. There's something about a wooden horse. Someone was riding it, or the horse swallowed someone.
Now, Odysseus wanted to get home to his native Ithaca as quickly as possible, because the war with Troy lasted 10 years. Can you imagine how much he missed his home?
Wow, 10 years of non-stop war.
One day, the ship stopped at a shore to replenish their water, and Odysseus saw a huge cave.
I wonder who lives in there.
Suddenly, the owner of the cave, the Cyclops, a one-eyed giant, came back from the pasture with his sheep.
I defeated one just like him during my last mission.
The Cyclops was pleased when he saw his guest. His breakfast had arrived all on its own. To ensure his breakfast wouldn't escape, the Cyclops blocked the cave exit with a stone.
Let's see what this Odysseus can do.
The Cyclops went to sleep, and Odysseus tried to move the stone, but it was far too heavy.
Oh, he's so weak. Consider that mission failed.
After that didn't work, Odysseus took a wax candle, melted it, and sealed the Cyclops' only eye with wax.
Hey, that's a good idea.
The Cyclops woke up, but everything was dark. He moved the stone, but it was still dark. The Cyclops couldn't open his eye.
You deserved it, you nasty giant.
The Cyclops knew at once who did it. "Beware," he said. "You will not get out of this cave."
Ooh, he's so angry. Watch out, Odysseus!
When they saw that the door was open, the sheep ran to graze on the meadow. The Cyclops stood by the exit and checked every sheep to see whether it was Odysseus or not.
Your Odysseus is a goner. He'll never make it out of there.
But Odysseus grabbed a passing sheep's wool and hung on to her belly.
He decided to ride a sheep?
The Cyclops touched the sheep, seems like a sheep, and let her out with Odysseus. The Cyclops continued to look for Odysseus, but he was already gone.
I like this story. Let's watch one more.
But this one's not finished. The Cyclops realized that he was fooled and asked his father, the mighty ocean god Poseidon, to get revenge on Odysseus.
He sounds evil.
Poseidon happily fulfilled the request of his favorite Cyclops and drove Odysseus across the sea for another 10 years.
Wow, 10 years at sea? Without a video game? He must have been very bored out there.
But after 10 years, Odysseus returned to his home Ithaca, where his beloved wife Penelope and his son Telemachus were waiting for him all that time.
Okay, Kate, make me some sandwiches for the road.
And where is it that you're going?
What do you mean, where? I'm gonna play a video game. It's gonna take me 10 years. And you should sit here and wait for me, my favorite sister, Kate Klops.